Hi guys, and welcome to Love Yourself to Success podcast. I'm your host Aaliyah.
And I'm Chanel.
And we'll be discussing all things self-love related.
We'll be discussing unselfish self-love,
healing practices,
deep wisdom,
empowerment,
universal concepts,
manifestation,
mindset shift,
boundaries,
and communication,
reinvention,
and real deep truths.
This is Self-Love Redefined. Welcome again.
Welcome to Love Yourself to Success
podcast.
Yes.
And
episode 1.
So last week we just spoke about, in episode 0, just really a bit of an intro of what we're going to be talking about in the podcast, and you know, just lots of different topics we're going to be discussing. I would say we're discussion based and solution based.
Yes.
And it's a judgment free zone.
For sure.
So we talk about anything and everything. We believe that all opinions are valid. And in today's episode, we're mainly going to be touching on how to tap into self-love in times of uncertainty and chaos. How are you coping?
And some people are definitely experiencing it different right now.
Yeah.
Some people are absolutely losing the plot, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are just actually finding their zen.
Which is
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And both is okay.
Both is okay.
Both is fine. And because we're all different, we're all humans, we all react different, we all have different coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Support systems and all sorts. So everything is okay. I don't think anyone's right or wrong for feeling any particular way. Mm-hmm. But there are some ways that we want to share with you that are actually probably going to make you feel better if you are struggling with some things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure throughout this we'll cover at least something that you will definitely find helpful in some way.
So we're going to speak about how our beliefs affect our reality and the experience during this time of chaos. And we're also going to touch on some top 6 hacks to find stillness
and balance and harmony.
Yeah, for sure.
Peace.
How have you found it? How have you found quarantine?
Right, so the whole situation, you know, I don't even want to say it and put it out there like that too much, but the whole quarantine situation, the whole, you know, pandemic situation, at first, initially, I was very thrown off. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But then at the same time, because I do feel like I've known and understood certain things. Part of me was like, oh, I kind of felt like I understood kind of what was going on to an extent. So I just did a bit of research. I didn't freak out though. I know some people that was kind of like, oh my God, you know. And then, but you know, I didn't really freak out. I just kind of thought, okay, cool. I'm just going to do a bit of research about it, which I did. Sometimes some of that made me feel worse. Some of it made me feel
great,
better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah,
you know?
and I definitely had to take a bit of time out as well. So there was a few weeks where my phone was just on airplane mode because I just wanted to just disconnect from all the messages, even though I've been guilty of being the person that sends the messages of look at this and
look at this.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to detach from that for a while and just find my own space. So
yeah.
And also there was a mixture of me just doing that as well, even initially when I was kind of a bit like, oh, thrown off by it. So yeah, I've mostly though, besides that, I've just found my zen. Do you know what I mean? I found it was a great time for stillness, and just to reconnect with myself. And so I must say the majority of the experience hasn't been unpleasant for me because I enjoy chilling out at home anyway. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Homebody.
Yeah, I just kind of thought, well, what can I do right now, and what things can I get on with, things that I haven't maybe had time for. Also, it was just nice that everything slowed down.
Yeah,
I kind of felt like I feel like it was needed. So even like people that are
especially
freaking out and whatnot, well. Yeah, like I feel like some people are freaking out just because they're not used to spend time with themselves.
Yeah.
And or just being in family dynamics or relationships that are not necessarily healthy for them or comfortable for them in certain ways. Some people have work and are able to go out and do certain things, and it's an escape for them. So I think a lot of people have had to they've had to manage environments and situations that sometimes they've been able to escape from,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
been challenging for a lot of people, I know. But for myself, I love being at home, so I've just been chilling out, running my baths. If you saw episode 0, you know, my crystal baths, my candles, my just chilling out, meditating, good vibes with friends, like encouragement, support, and anyone's going through anything, I've kind of just wanted to just help them to think of different things to do or different ways to cope with things. And it's been nice for me, to be fair. And I know that some people have lost people and stuff, and that's awful. But at the same time, my personal experience has been to stay very mindful of my emotions, stay on top of that, stay grounded. And I think taking time to plan out what I want to do and how I'm going to maneuver through this personally, regardless of too much of the external stuff, because I can't control that. I can only control what I do. So that's mainly what I've been focusing on, and that's definitely made me feel a lot better, and it's carried me through this experience with calmness and clarity to an extent, at least within myself anyway.
I mean,
what about you?
I think for me, initially I was definitely caught off guard, but I've definitely been experiencing, I'd say the last 6 months since really the year began, that I've kind of been experiencing a bit of a rebirth anyway, and this kind of finalized a few thoughts. It brought a lot of things to the surface for me, which has taken me weeks to process, just in terms of the things that I want to do. I feel like in the last probably 18 months, my thoughts have been very clouded in terms of what do I actually want to accomplish? What's my purpose? And a lot of things have revealed itself in this time, because I haven't been in a rat race. I haven't been getting up, going to work every day, working 9 till 6, coming home, doing the same routine. So I've been able to break certain cycles, which has allowed my thought process to be a lot clearer. But initially, I think for the first 2 weeks of complete lockdown, I definitely tapped into the fear side of things a little bit. I was definitely listening to the mainstream news for the first week, checking for the update, although the update never changed.
You can't not feel,
and it is all negative. And I kind of made the decision that I kind of did a bit of my own research into the situation. You know, I've got my own conclusion on things, but I made the decision, I think after about 1 week or 10 days in my whole household, actually, that we weren't going to watch the news anymore. Just because if there's something I need to know, I'm going to find out some way or another, whether that's by WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram posts, whatever. So I don't actually need to be watching the news.
External news.
Yeah, it's
secondhand news.
Exactly. And also as well, I believe that this is a time when we all have a certain level of knowance, and we know what resonates with us and what doesn't, and there's a lot of things with the mainstream media that doesn't necessarily resonate with me, so I won't watch it. And in all honesty, I don't watch the news anyway, whether there's a pandemic or I don't watch the news, because like I said, any news will get to me. You've got so much blog, so much resources for information. I definitely don't rush to get to the news for 6 p.m. every day. But yeah, like I said, it's brought a lot to the surface for me, and it's just really made me realise my real dreams, like not my fickle dreams, not the dreams that have been conditioned and programmed by my experiences in the last kind of year. They've kind of been my dreams that I had when I was like 18, and I feel like over time they kind of got dimmed down a little because of opinions and because just really thinking that things weren't possible. But I've also realised that that I've grown. Like, if you haven't spoken to me since the pandemic, you're going to speak to me and we're going to have a conversation and be like, you've changed.
She done changed. That pandemic done changed
up on you, girl. But, you know, it's all for positive. And for me, it's just really maturing and just, you know, thinking about the things that I want to do, and executing those things as well, and purely just focusing on myself. So ultimately it has been a positive experience. I have lost someone close to me during this time as well, but you know, I'm just trying to just push forward and keep positive. And like Chanel said, we can only control what's going on internal. We can't control our external environment, and all you can do is to stay educated, and you know, just believe what you want to believe, and you know, don't feel forced to just do what we are being told. You know, it's okay to question things. It's okay if something doesn't necessarily sit right with you. You know, you think, oh, that's a bit off. That math doesn't make sense.
That's your intuition, though.
Exactly.
That's your intuition.
And my intuition's always, but I'm a Scorpio. Shout out to my fellow Scorpios, best sign. But yeah, my intuition's quite strong anyway. So, you know, I've always really been able to, I mean, I don't always want to hear it, but I've always been able to tap into it, and I ultimately know that my intuition always proves me right.
For sure. Water sign, man.
Exactly.
For sure.
But ultimately it has been a good experience, and I wouldn't take it back. I mean, I would take back the grief that, you know, a lot of people are going through, and just the whole drama and sadness around the situation. But for me personally, if I would take any day to be stuck in my house doing things that I wouldn't normally, I've got into the gardening more. I've always wanted to get into gardening, but I was like, I kind of woke up and I was like, I'm not going to sit here and just watch TV all day. I'm going to be productive, focus on the business channel. We've done so much. I mean, we've been working on this for such a long time.
To bang out a lot more.
Yeah, but we've been able to come up with a system that works for us during this time. So when this is all over and we do go back to some form of normality, we're still going to be able to manage our business.
Yeah.
And we would have never been able to execute what we've executed in this period of time if there wasn't lockdown, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I mean, I definitely would have preferred to be locked down in a nice country with a beach and some cocktails. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
And for sure. And also, though, it's always this perspective, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, like, there's, even though there's horrible things happening, there's been times in history where there's been awful things like war, all kinds of
big
shit,
depression.
right? And people can have different experiences. So even if there's chaos and tribulation happening, honestly, this is where focus and beliefs and all these types of things come in, because if you are literally focusing just on the news, just on the negatives, even if there really are deep things happening right in front of you, completely and utterly focusing on it and completely honing in on it all the time is definitely going to just keep you feeling lower, you know. So focusing on the positive things, you know, because there are some positives to take from this, and I want to reel some off. So, like,
Let go.
The way I hear the birds singing in the morning.
Oh my God.
I feel like due to lack of people walking around and driving around and doing the most, I feel like the earth is actually clearing up, getting more clean. You know, the water's clearing up a little bit. Birds are hella happy. You know, I just feel like the environment is getting to balance itself out a little bit, and that's a massive thing, because our environment is what sustains us. Do you know what I mean? So that's great in a way. And I kind of feel like this pandemic thing is a little bit spiritual too.
It is very.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like there's like a clearing out happening, and it's like a resetting happening.
And although all our experiences are very different, we have one thing in common, which is that we're all going through this as a collective. We're moving through this as a collective, and we're all learning new things, whether that's positive, negative. We've all learned something from this situation.
For sure.
And I feel like I kind of want to talk about a little bit about reinvention, because I feel like
that's where the perspective comes in.
Yeah.
And because of this time of stillness, because we've had this time to reflect and reset, just like the earth is in a way, we can choose how we're going to respond. So we can say, well, what actually do I want now? You can look at yourself and really think, because when you're in that rat race and the hustle and bustle, you can get caught up in that survival mode, the hamster wheel. Whereas now you can actually step back and say, okay, what have I not been doing? What have I not been working on? What have I wanted to face?
What thoughts and emotions have you been ignoring or trying to escape
what
from?
What things have I put off?
Yeah.
You know, is this the way I've been going? Is that the way have I actually wanted to be going that way? Or have I just been kind of going that way because that's what society's, the flow, you know? And
And I also feel like as well, you know, outside of lockdown and quarantine, there would have been a time in your life when you've probably said, I have a goal, and in order to get to that goal, I'm going to have to make some changes. So I think people have to realize that sometimes in order for you to get to that next level or to make those changes, you have to break old cycles and programming, which can be uncomfortable. but you kind of have to find comfort in the discomfort, if that makes sense.
Yes, because life is a whole bag of nonsense sometimes.
Honestly.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it can just be one thing after another.
Yeah.
Nonsense situations, right? But yeah, it's about really being able to just, if you can align yourself in chaos, then you can align yourself throughout anything. And I think that's what it's really about. Like, if you're able to find that stillness in any situation, it can always carry you through.
Correct. And then also, you know, any of the new things or any of the new thoughts that you've picked up, I think life definitely showed me that life is short, and we are only in control of what goes on in here. And for me, because of that, a lot of plans that I'll do that next year, I'll do that, I'm doing it now. And
for sure.
I'm
setting it in motion.
Yeah, and I'm really learning to be present and enjoy today, not to worry, because tomorrow isn't promised.
Tomorrow doesn't even exist yet.
It doesn't.
It doesn't even exist.
And the last time I thought it did exist, I told I couldn't leave. I wasn't able to leave my house, and I was allowed out once a day. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
You really do have to kind of live in the moment and try and be as present as you can.
Yeah.
And try not to worry. You know, just allow things to be.
It's easier said than done.
It is.
Do you know what I mean? But when you do get into that, when you actually get into that deep understanding of, I know how I think fully affects my experience, my mood, my reality, you start to kind of want to be more responsible for how you're feeling and for what you're projecting and what you're creating.
Yeah.
So, you know, anyone who's slightly tapped in, they're going to know that if they're walking around in a constant state of fear, that's just going to ruin your whole day. It's going to ruin your mood, your week, your month, and you're not going to be in that creative mode. You're not going to be in a solution-based mode. You're going to be in a mode of panic, and you don't make good decisions when you're in panic. You just want to run to the darkest corner somewhere, and that's not necessarily the smartest thing to do if you actually want to
move forward,
excel, or you know.
And also as well, I think that what you have to remember is that the brain, when you've been doing something for a certain amount of time, that is set in your brain as a routine. So you have to, your brain's naturally going to want you to go back into that place of fear because it's familiar.
It's so
and the
easy,
brain, it's so easy
Yeah.
because the brain will always say, "Oh, this is familiar. This is what I should be doing," because it's been programmed to believe or think that way.
The reptile brain, like
exactly,
yeah.
So you need you have to you will have to go through mornings or times of saying, "Oh, this is long. Oh, I can't do this." Oh, and you know what? If you are having a day where you're feeling a bit low, that's okay because you're aware that you're feeling a bit low.
Yeah.
And try and find things to do that bring up your energy levels and make you happy. Like for me personally, food, good plant-based food makes me really happy and it naturally brings my energy levels up.
Yeah.
And also just chilling in the garden. If you don't have your garden, going to the park, going for walks really does help clear your mind. And I think as well, we all need to, realise that all possibilities do exist. And by keeping your mental headspace in a space of fear, you're limiting your possibilities.
You're cutting them out completely.
You're cutting them out completely.
Because you're not allowing your creative juices are not flowing when you're in fear state. And really, if there is actually a really deep situation happening, unless there's bombs going off and all these kind of things, then you're going to want that reptile brain. You're going to want that fight or flight. You're going to want to just have that blood pumped into your limbs and arms, because that's what happens when you're in fight or flight mode, anxiety mode, panic mode. The blood goes all into your arms and legs and you're in that mode to just run. There's no room for thinking. There's no room for clarity. And really, when you are in situations, I don't like to say problems, I like to say situations. When you're in situations, you kind of need that clarity to actually be able to problem solve. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't give yourself that time in these times, you're just all over the place and you need someone to direct you. And then that takes away from your personal responsibility because you're not thinking for yourself and you're not taking that time to have that mental clarity and create the solutions that are needed to that situation. Basically.
And a lot of the time there is a solution for most things.
I don't think I've had a situation in my life where there is absolutely no solution.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some things, but on a whole, I believe like 98% of problems definitely have a solution.
100%. And as well, for all the people out there who, have a business idea, or maybe you've been working 9 to 5 for the last couple of years and you're like, boom, I've got this idea, I want to execute it. There's a lot of companies that we all regularly use and know of that were made in a recession.
For sure.
Groupon. All the Christmas stocking presents come from Groupon every Christmas. Even the other day, I got my brother some bed sheets, some really nice bed sheets. He's like, where'd you get them from? Groupon. He was like, Groupon. I was like, Groupon. So Groupon was made in a recession. Disney was made in a recession.
WhatsApp.
I'm
sure companies like Amazon and these places.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies that will thrive in a recession because we basically are in a recession, or going right into one, even if they're not saying it yet. If you, as saying it again, like
pay attention,
looking at what's happening around us right now and looking for the right information can arm you with what you need to know, and that is going to help you. Do you know what I mean? So where some people might have looked into certain things, they might not realize, i.e., there's a recession pending. So looking into these things and knowing these things is good, because now you could say, right, I know that there's an imminent recession. So what recession-proof businesses can I get into, or what things would be, in my interest to still create growth and allow me to sustain myself and my family at this time, knowing that this is going to happen now because of these events that have been unfolding lately. So arming yourself with knowledge, giving yourself that clarity to, it's going to always put you in the best position. And even though there might be craziness going on around you, you might be scared, just taking that step back, kind of like a step back into yourself, if that makes sense. Like, not stepping out of your reality. Like, if anything, you want to come more into yourself and come out of the external. Like, we know what's going on, research. Now, what am I going to do about this? What is the best move for me? Because external things are completely out of our control to an extent. All we can usually do is do the best thing to align ourselves to where we need to be in that situation, and where we can put ourselves in the best stead for whatever's happening.
100%. And I think as well, kind of exactly what Chanel said, if you are unsure, or even if you just want to pick up the phone, speak to a friend, like for me personally, I have tried to be there for my friends, but I also know that there's been times where I have just been unavailable because I need to be available to myself. So that, for example, Chanel, she had her phone off, for the first couple of weeks. I kind of had my phone on airplane mode till about midday, 11 o'clock.
Can I just say though, having my phone on airplane mode, I still do it now.
It's a
because
thing.
It's so good.
Honestly.
Digital detox is a thing.
100%.
Sorry,
and
I had to say that.
It's just less distraction as well. And like I said,
Gives you clarity.
One thing actually I do want to talk about is Instagram. A lot of us wake up and the first thing we do is Instagram or WhatsApp, for example.
We're probably going to say this in every episode.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad.
It is bad. It is bad. But also, for brain, me, it's bad for your brain. But also, before, when I was waking up and sometimes going straight to Instagram, because of who I follow and who's on my feed, I actually enjoy my posts, and my posts aren't negative. So even if you decide, I don't want to have a complete social media detox, but actually let me go through my followers, let me see who's on my feed, and let me get rid of some people who aren't really posting things that resonate with me right now, or kind of giving me the energy that I need right now. Sometimes you just gotta blocker
100%,
block and delete 100%. Or unfollow, do what you have to do, and don't feel guilty about it. I think kind of based on speaking with friends and kind of how I've felt certain times, because in my situation it hasn't necessarily been terrible for me. Yes, I have lost someone close to me, but I have enjoyed the experience and I've learned a lot about myself, and I don't want people to carry, there's so many emotions right now coming to the surface, but I really don't want people to carry guilt, because I definitely have carried guilt when speaking to friends who, they've said, they've lost their job, or they don't have this, or they don't have that. don't feel guilty because you you aren't having that same experience.
Yes.
You know, your feelings are still very, very valid, whether they're
100%.
positive or negative.
Yep.
And I'm not saying don't be mindful. So I'm saying if you're speaking to a friend who's going through a bad situation, you don't need to, you know, scream and shout about how great everything's going. Still be mindful and considerate to your friends.
100.
But also find a way to express what you're going through. And sometimes just listen. Sometimes we don't always need to be told you should do this or you should do that or this is my... Sometimes people just need to listen so they can hear their own voice and they can find answers within themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like we were given 2 ears, 1 mouth. I think the ratio is quite perfect. Do you know what I mean? Because 2 ears are for listening. And I feel like it's really a time when we should be listening and allowing, you know, close friends and families to come to their own conclusions. You know,
For sure.
Give your 2 pence when asked or required. Some balance.
Discussion is cool, but it's about being mindful about
100%
who you are and what you can manage. And if you can be Mother Teresa and support the world and carry everybody's problems on your shoulders every single day, then that's great. Some people are made for that, to be fair. But if you do feel like talking to people all the time, reading up on certain or seeing, you know, all this scary stuff on your phone all the time, and people are sending you, you know, it's a scary time to an extent, you know, so it's submerging yourself into it all the time. You can choose to disconnect from it and not feel guilty about it. Do you know what I mean? Because how you feel matters. Do you know what I mean? And if it's too much for you, you have to be able to say, for your own good, do you know what I mean? That you have to say, this is a bit much for me right now. I need a little bit of space. I need to detach from this because I'm feeling emotionally drained. I'm feeling watching it and taking this in all the time is worrying me. It's creating stress. Every time I talk to someone about some certain things, it's stressing me. Do you know what I mean? So it's about listening to what you know you need, and your feelings will tell you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then finding that stillness. That's the best way to find your peace in this time. To be fair, like really. It's just coming back into yourself.
And also, you know, just holding yourself accountable and kind of taking some kind of personal responsibility of how things are going for you as well. You know, like what are you doing on a daily basis to create a different environment or a different result? You know, if you're waking up every day and you're really struggling, what have you tried to change?
And also I think that a lot of people are actually, and no judgment in it, like we're all at, but some people are definitely relying on the government, this person, that person to save them, to give them solutions, waiting to hear what new rule there is or procedure there is. Sometimes you know what's best, and I won't be funny, we've had the flu, we've had diseases and stuff happen before. We are old enough to know how we want to manage ourselves. And I'm not saying that don't listen to this or don't listen to that. Listen to what everyone listens to, but we are adults and we do know what's best for us. And me personally, I feel like my immune system is good. And I'm not worried about colds and flus and colds. Do you know what I mean? On a whole. And it's also part of my belief system. My belief system is that I'm healthy. Like I work with clients a lot sometimes as well because I've got a little side business. But like I work with clients a lot and I don't care if they're sick, to be honest. Like as long as I'm not throwing up, you know, all sorts. But if you've got cough, cold, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because that's how you build up immunity. Do you know what I mean?
And that's kind of like even the guilty, but just back to touching on guilt. I think the first kind of 2.5 weeks, this is a time for hay fever, yeah? Shout out to all my hay fever allergy sufferers. And I remember...
I know what you're going to say. Yes, please, preach.
Babes, I was in Tesco. Okay, let me tell you the story. So I was in Tesco, got up nice and early, wasn't really much of a queue, thought, yeah, okay, like, you know, it's going to be a nice, easy shop, although it takes double the time these days, but great. Gone in Tesco... doing my shopping, I think I was getting some almond milk. And you know what? I could feel my sneeze coming on. And for the first few seconds, I was trying to hold my sneeze in because I felt guilty that I might offend someone for sneezing. But worried. But I thought, you know what? I know that this is not a disease. This is just hay fever because we're in hay fever season and I suffer with hay fever. So I sneezed. And I really got a really dark look from another gentleman who was doing his shopping, and I politely said to him, you know, I said it's hay fever, But I also said, you know, if you don't feel comfortable in being around people naturally sneezing,
in public,
naturally
in a public place,
coughing in a public place, which 6 weeks ago was absolutely fine to do.
Yeah, because it'll be funny. 6 weeks ago,
None of you were
people
businesses.
was on the train,
Sneezing,
hella coughing and sneezing.
coughing.
Not one hand was covering one mouth.
Literally, there was
Okay,
no hand
yeah,
sanitizer,
please,
no tissue in sight.
please.
So, you know, if you are struggling with some anxiety, like I said, kind of be mindful of not projecting that on someone else, even if you are in the aisle in Tesco, you know, because I really felt uncomfortable with how he looked at me as if to say I wasn't allowed to sneeze, and which is such a human, normal thing.
Yeah,
and I know that I'm not sick. I know that it's my hay fever.
Can you let me live?
Exactly.
Can I breathe?
So don't feel guilty for sneezing or coughing, guys. Of course, be mindful, wash your hands, cover your mouth.
Whatever, yeah.
I now have tissues in my bag at all times just in case. But please, guys, snoff, cough and sneeze if you need to.
Cough and sneeze, if you please.
The message of the whole podcast. I might have put that as a description. Just cough and sneeze if you need to.
Yeah, no, cough
honestly.
and sneeze if you please.
And although,
I think there's a ring to
and
it.
after I had that experience, I've had multiple people tell me they've had similar experiences.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
Yeah.
And as I'm saying, even the person that's giving the judgmental eye is going to need to sneeze
or cough
at some point.
Or
innit?
sniffle.
So this is why judgment is dead. Because, yeah, it's dead because, and especially like, this is what I've learned in life, yeah. A lot of the time, if I've ever judged someone, something similar has happened to me.
Yeah.
Or,
it reflects on you.
Or it's happened to someone really close to me where I have to look at it different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're judging other people, you're only judging yourself. And I can't like that judgment usually comes from a place of self-judgment anyway.
And
Just
maybe,
thought I'd throw that
you know,
out there.
I'll offer them a tissue. You got a tissue
No,
there, love?
no,
Do you want some hand sanitizer there,
Bless
love?
you.
You know, bless you. How about
Bless you,
just
honey.
a bless you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because when I'm out and someone sneezes next to me, especially now, I actually make more of an effort to be like, bless you, honey.
Yeah.
Or bless you.
Just to make that person feel comfortable, you know.
You're a person and it's okay.
And also, I mean, there's social distancing requirements everywhere, which is apparently meant to save you from catching COVID-19.
Even though the Uber driver and the restaurant prepare your food with their hands, they're probably coughing all over it anyway. They give it to the Uber driver who then touches it. And then the Uber driver is going to leave it on your doorstep. So because he's not giving it to you, that means he hasn't touched it. And it means the restaurant hasn't also touched it as well. You're going to it doesn't... Maths.
You know, sometimes you just have to just be like, really? If I could raise my eyebrow. You know, like that emoji.
Yeah, really.
Really?
Common
But we
sense.
all have to
Common
just...
sense is not always common.
Yeah, but we all need to just unite and try and make everybody feel comfortable with their experience, because everyone's going... I definitely feel the level of consciousness is raising across the whole world, because we're all making new revelations. And I also feel like it was very necessary. I think a lot of us were living in a bit of a box. A lot of us, you know, were, like I said, have been living in certain programming and conditions for a very, very long period of time. And this has all made us say stop and think.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And think, like, what is going on here?
And that's what I was saying before. It's like the planet is resetting in ways. The Earth's cleaning up, all that great stuff. And look at the sun. Oh my God, I know it's the season, but can we
Let's
just
be honest,
give thanks for that?
It's the season, yeah, but come on, we know how it goes, especially in the UK. There's no such thing.
Year, this
was
not
time,
like this.
We've had, at least since this whole period, we've had more, I would say, more sun than we've had rain.
For sure.
You know.
I feel like it's the universe saying to us, do you know what?
Just
you. Keep on noticing the small things. Because
the signs.
The gratitude in the small things is what has definitely kept me optimistic.
Yeah, for sure.
Seeing the sun out every day, I'm just like, thank you, man. Do you know what I mean? Thank you that I'm healthy. Do you know what I mean? Straight. You have to be grateful for your own health as well, even though there's crazy stuff going on. And yeah, just being grateful for the small things. I love my bath. I can run a little bath. So it's not about money. It's not about this or that. You know, it is. We're worrying about paying bills and all these things as well. Like, don't get me wrong. And some people are in mad financial situations right now, have lost jobs, etc. So there's a lot of different things going on. And you can, as we said before, like, you don't have to take on everything and listen to everyone, but when you are ready, you can have empathy, even if, you know, you're in a place where you are feeling zen and bliss. Because some people are still at home getting paid and getting to meditate and live their best life.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are worrying about how they're going to pay their rent next month because they've lost their job or whatever. So, you know, we can empathize if someone is going through something or someone's lost someone or whatever, but knowing when you're going to do that and when you're not going to do that, and how also you're internalizing somebody else's situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes when we do empathize or we are compassionate, it's like, Sky.
Hi, Sky.
Oopsie daisy. Oops.
So, welcome. We might as well introduce Sky now.
We might as well. For those who are listening, you cannot see her, but she's cute.
Running around.
Yeah.
Sky. Come, Sky. Come on.
She doesn't listen to cute chat, does she?
No, she doesn't. You have to talk to her mean.
We'll try and get her on.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Sky! Come on. Come here. Come here. Come, Sky. Come.
Anyway.
She will make her own entrance. We move. But yeah, you know, sorry, what was you?
Yeah, just basically just knowing your own internal barometer. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it applies to any situation, any stressful situation, any situation at any given moment. Sometimes I feel my stress barometer going up just because I've been on my phone for too long. And I feel like you can get that mindful where you know what's triggering you even on a micro level. And as I say, when you start to really practice mindfulness, I'm sure there's some listeners that are already practicing mindfulness and some that are completely new to it. But being mindful is about what Leah was saying, being present in the moment. Do you know what I mean? And just tapping into yourself. And when you are tapping into yourself, you are mindful about how you're feeling. Because I know sometimes when I'm on my phone, I've been on it for too long, or I'm on my laptop and I'm working. Sometimes you need to listen to yourself. You can listen to your body, you can feel yourself tensing up. You can feel yourself getting like, you know, and sometimes you need to say, oh, I need 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I need to actually put my phone away for a while.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
Of that.
And even
you know
just like, even with us, like in terms of how we've been progressing with our business, we have had days where we're like, I don't think we're going to be able to do what we plan to do today because we're just not, we know something's missing, we're not feeling up for it. And, you know, and we have been very compassionate to ourselves actually and very kind.
I feel like we are in general though,
yeah, but I feel more so now as well.
Yeah, and with each other, I feel like because we love ourselves and we're compassionate to ourselves, that trickles out to everyone else. And because I feel like we are quite adept at self-love to an extent, I feel like we naturally are like that with each other. So like, yes, if one person is feeling off, even though we run a very organized situation here, like I feel like we are very professional in the way that we manage things in general, even not just this project, just our lives in our own way. But, you know, being able to just... Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Listeners, you know what she means.
Yeah, you know. Lost it.
And as well, I feel like I really want people to feel comfortable in speaking their truth. And even if that is not necessarily what the masses or mainstream media are telling us, feel comfortable to say how you feel. You know, if you are having a good time and this time's serving you and serving your purpose, say it. You know, if you are struggling, say it. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel, you know, whether, and I think for us especially, I don't care if you're not wearing a mask. I'm not going to say, oh, you're carrying disease, you're not following the rules. I don't care if, you know, you decide, what other things have they brought into place? Oh, wear gloves, you know, we can't judge people.
I don't really stand 2 meters away from people, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, you know.
I can't lie. What you just do when you're walking down the pavement, which is how wide?
Yeah, it's
go down the pavement. What else do you go out into the road to avoid you?
But also, I think,
and some
you're
people...
comfortable in that because you believe that you're healthy and that this is not going to affect you. And I have the same belief. So no, I'm not like itching up if someone's literally behind me in the queue. Like, I'm just like, cool, whatever, man.
Even someone that I don't know coughs behind me, I'm genuinely not fazed.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like, and it's not that I'm not, because I'm a very hygienic person, but people cough. Like, you can't
Yeah, you can't work. You can't
just let yourself
live,
man.
Live,
Let yourself live.
In the small parameters we have to living at the moment
That we've been told
that we live in. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and for example, like for me, I've really struggled. I go to the gym 5 times a week. Well, I was going to the gym 5 times a week, and I've had to cut down my training sessions from 3 times a week with my trainer to once a week. And, for me, that was a bit of a problem because I'm so used to, I let go a lot of my stresses and kind of any feelings or baggage that I don't want to carry for my day in the gym in the morning. So even for me, having to go through that process, how am I making that work from home, accumulate, investing in gym equipment, that was a bit of a struggle for me, especially for my mental health, because I was getting up and I was like, oh, I haven't got no gym to go to. What do I do now?
But then that allowed you, that's the thing, taking positives from negatives. So that allowed you, though, to then take some of the responsibility from being like, even though you had the responsibility of, you had you got a personal trainer.
Yeah.
You paid for that every month. You attend, you show up, you try your best.
Yeah.
That's great because some people are just trying to get there.
Yeah.
But now it's even a level up because you're now wanting to, you can now say to yourself, well, do you know what? I can recreate this
exactly
at home, and then doing that and getting all the stuff and making sure you apply your stuff. You get again is another form of personal responsibility, saying I still want to do this, and I'm not going to
allow what's happened to stop me from doing that.
You can control that.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Love it.
Yeah, and but also kind of the point that I was going with is that your situation, we don't like to use the word problems in Love Yourself to Success, but your situation is not any smaller or any greater than the next person's, although the situations are completely different.
For sure.
Like you are able to feel like you're a bit lost and that you don't really know who you are.
Yeah.
And then you also might feel like, I know who the F I am right now, and that's kind of a bit of space where I'm at.
I found her.
Yeah,
where's she been at?
And also it's so for me, it's more been just a bit of a reconnection. I wasn't completely tapped out of who I was before this anyway.
Yeah.
But I've really been able to refine and retune.
I feel the same. I feel like I recalibrated and also kind of elevated.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's like energetically and mentally and, I feel like I've leveled up in some ways.
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. Hello, Sky.
Come, Sky. Come and say hello. Come on. That's what they say, don't work with children and animals.
I know, man. Working from home life anyway.
I feel like it would be good to talk about a few coping mechanisms that, or not necessarily coping mechanisms, ways in which we can set some boundaries from people that want to try and just do a bit too much right now, and also how we can just kind of communicate with people that we actually care about, to say if we need a bit of space or we need a bit of distance without people getting overly in their feelings or taking it in a sensitive way. And sometimes even when you do say it in the right way and you're hella diplomatic about the fact that you want your boundaries in certain ways, some people will still get sensitive about it anyway. But that's usually like a them problem. Do you know what I mean? Because respect goes both ways. So we should respect how somebody's feeling as they should the way we are. We may not always agree, but we can at least respect it,
And I think for me, the communication's been really key for me, and kind of just speaking my truth and, saying to, friends that even the other day, my friend called me and I said, and she was like, I just thought, who could I call, for a bit of positive chat? And I was like, babe, I'm really sorry, but I'm actually not in that mindset today. I'm just feeling a bit low and I'm just feeling a bit ready to just not really speak about anything positive, and I'm just in a bit of an observing state. And she was like, cool, babes, it's not like I was like, I can't take the call right now, I'm busy, I was just simply like, I'm, if you're looking for positive Aaliyah today, she's not really on that vibe.
She's not here today.
Yeah, I was just in a bit of a state of
funk.
Yeah, just a bit of, yeah. And if anything, I could have done with some preaching to me, or just, but I wasn't there. I didn't feel like I was available to give, but there's so many ways in which we can say things without being rude.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I.e., like, if you do feel like taking some time out, and a lot of people won't do this or they don't do it because they feel like I can't put my phone down. I can't just go missing. The world's going to miss me. Everyone's going to wonder where I am. Unless you're under 18 and people are taking care of you in some type of way. You've got some type of medical stuff where people have to tend on you.
Yeah.
If you're independent, grown up, you can turn off your phone.
Yeah.
It's your phone.
Yeah.
Even when sometimes people call me, I'm sometimes not in the mood. I'll just air your call. Because it's my prerogative. It's not a bitch thing. It's actually, I'm just not in the mood to talk to you right now. Or actually, I know if I talk to you right now, I can't engage with you in the way that you deserve. Because when I do speak to my people, I want to actually engage with them in a way they deserve to be engaged. Like 100%. Actually give them my energy and actually be in the mood to listen to what they're saying. So sometimes you can just be like, you can just cut out, and then when people ask you later where you've been, which they probably will, you could say, oh, you don't even have to be like, I was doing this, I was doing that. Sometimes you can just say, oh, I've just been taking some time to myself. What's up? And if people have a been their bonnet about it, you just if you care about them enough and you want to explain to them, you can, but you shouldn't feel obligated to if you don't want to. But if you do, there's ways in which you could say, like, sometimes I just like to have a bit of space. Everything that's been going on at the moment is a bit heavy, so I need some time to myself. Hopefully you can respect that, and if I am quiet again in the future, it's just because I like a bit of time to myself. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing personal. There's nothing wrong with that, and anyone who can't respect that doesn't really respect you. And at the same time also, it's a thing where they probably have their own internal stuff as well, because I don't feel like we should be that needy towards anyone unless it's your boyfriend or someone that you have to engage with. But on a whole, you deserve to have your peace if you want it, if you need it. Do you know what I mean? And we can just express it in a way where we're just to the point and diplomatic. We don't have to give a massive explanation why, though.
Exactly.
You don't owe it to anyone unless you want to.
And I feel like for us, the main thing, the common denominator in our experience and a lot of other people's experience is just doing your best to find that balance and stillness. So we are now going to get into our top 6 hacks. Last week we did our top 6 hacks. What was that was our self-love rituals. Our top 6 hacks this week are going to be based on trying to find stillness and balance in your life in times of chaos and crisis,
uncertainty, drama.
Just a lot of things happening.
Happens. There's a bit of drama happening. There's a lot of drama happening now, to be fair. A lot of it is drama as well. But there are times when there's just stuff always happening. So this applies. What I love about what we talk about, what we're into, the self-love concept, is that it's applicable for everything you do. It's applicable for the rest of your life.
And at any moment in your life, if the top 6 hacks we're going to give you now, even in times of normality, they're still
a normal stressful situation.
Yeah, it still works. It's still valid.
Yeah.
I mean, one for me has been journaling, and I'm not really a journaler, and I also would have said this last week because I'm generally not. But we are living in a time of history. So my perspective is I'm going to write my experience of COVID-19 because in 10 or 20 years' time, my kids, the kids' in 100 years' time are going to be like, oh, my grandma lived through the pandemic. You know, so that's kind of encouraged me to journal. So hack 1.
Cute.
And it gives you a time, allows you to express yourself without any judgment.
For sure.
Writing provides a lot of clarity.
And it's a good way to release.
Exactly, yeah. So that's hack 1. 2 is cultivating all the feels of gratitude. Definitely. Gratitude is an elevated emotion, which we do need to kind of see things in a positive way,
more of an elevated perspective,
exactly.
And also more of an abundant perspective,
exactly. So again, like Chanel said earlier, just being grateful for hearing the birds sing every morning, or the sun being out for the last 6 weeks,
your health,
last year, any little
health.
Thing, just trying to find something to be grateful for, or just being grateful for the fact that you're able to quarantine with family. Some people are doing this by themselves and they don't have a support system. So just try and find the littlest thing to be grateful
Listen,
for.
let me reel off a couple. I'm grateful for my brain, my intelligence. I'm grateful for my personality. I'm grateful for the fact that I always want to improve myself, that I have that mentality. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm even here on this journey. I feel like
Grateful for life.
You know, like, I'm grateful for so much. Grateful for, this is one of the biggest things I'm grateful for, that I have the choice every single day to choose exactly what I'm going to do with my life. Like, that's such a, like, I can get up tomorrow if I want to, pack a suitcase and decide to go live in Thailand. I can just do that. And it doesn't even matter if you're rich or you're broke. When you make a decision to go and do something, you can do it. And I see it as I have the opportunity at any given moment to start something, create something, get the ball rolling on something, change something.
And although,
it's amazing. And I'm grateful for that.
And based on that, some people say, oh, you can't travel because of the da-da-da-da. You can still plan and you can still set things in motion. So when certain things are lax, so you can go and, you know, travel and do what you want to do.
And not even just travel. I can get up in the morning today, and especially right now, you can get up in the morning and say, wow, I'm just going to go and just lay out in the sun and just meditate or just read a nice book, have a moment to myself, like, just grateful. You can choose.
But we all have that choice.
Yeah.
And don't feel like that you're lacking in choice because of the rules and everything that has been implemented in your external world. You know,
choice is one of the greatest things that we've ever been given. Free will is one of the greatest things that we've ever been given.
And I feel like as well, like, from young, we're always programmed. We feel like we don't have a choice, and even just have a choice in feeling a certain way. You know, like
we're subject.
You know, as a child, and you drop, and your mum's like, "Oh, it's okay, you just fell over."
Excuse me.
Then, no, I dropped. And it hurts. But from young, we're programmed to, you know, feel like we don't have a choice in our emotions. And like I said, I feel like in this time, a lot of emotions are going to come to the surface, and you have to just feel yourself through those and being self-aware of those emotions, which most of us do have the time to do, be a bit more self-aware. You know, do that and work through it.
Sometimes it's tricky, but it's so worth it.
It is worth it.
Just, come on.
And we will be doing a course as well in emotional management coming out very, very soon.
For sure.
Which will give you some further tips. So hack 3, just finding some inner stillness. So, I mean, a lot of people who are listening, you know, might already be doing meditation. But for us, definitely that is key in trying to find some inner peace and quietness of the mind, even if it's for 5 minutes of the day.
Yeah.
You know,
and meditation is something that is sometimes quite misunderstood.
Yeah.
And everybody has different ways of being able to accomplish the meditative state.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because some people make it seem very complicated. And one thing I've noticed about meditation is that I find a lot of people actually struggle with it sometimes. Some people are Zen masters, do you know what I mean? But some people do struggle with it. And I think there's a lot of people that have... I think because in the past, when a lot of people that looked into it have found that there's so many things on it, and people can make it sound very complicated, like star activation and light beam, starlight ascension meditation. Meditation can be as simple as just being quiet and not looking at your phone and the TV, just having a moment to yourself, just to think about your body, what it's doing, your breath, just to actually even just observing your body is meditation in itself, and then working out what it's doing and what that means, why it's doing that. That's meditation in itself. So we are going to be doing some meditation practices and videos and whatnot for you, because we want to debunk it and simplify it for you, so you can achieve the Zen in your life with ease. So meditation is a vibe.
Hack.
I love meditation. I meditated for years. I'm at a point where I don't really actually fully sit on and always meditate, because I feel like when you meditate for a long period of time, you get to that point where you can train yourself to always be in a bit of a meditative state. So I feel like 80%, 85% of the time, I'm very much in a meditative state. So I can be even having a conversation with somebody and still be in a state of self-awareness, self-regulation. I'm aware of how I'm internalizing people's emotions, how I'm feeling in the moment, like being really hello, cousin, baby. His guy. I had to get him and say
Sorry,
hello because I'm
she's
like,
been trying to
you've heard her just running around throughout.
Sorry, listeners, this is Sky who've had the little scraping across the floor.
If you watch our YouTube video, you can see her. She's
But yeah, I mean, and I think that nicely leads us on to hack 4, which we've already touched on, but we would really, it's worked for us and we think it's a good thing for everyone to just try and do, which is to just turn off your phone for a couple of hours a day, turn off your TV,
detach from the nonsense, from
your devices,
digital nonsense,
from the digital world. Exactly,
because it's all overstimulation. Exactly, in the end of the day, and when you overstimulate your brain, you just send it into overdrive, and then you just lose focus. And also, it's actually harder to do the things and work on projects that you actually want to because you're constantly consumed with the need for dopamine fixes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So procrastination tip 2.
Yeah. And then straight on to 5, hack 5, practice mindfulness. So we touched on that just, when you're speaking to friends, and also just being mindful of things like your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in.
It's life. Breath is life.
Breathe out. We all need that to survive. So, be mindful to your breath work, be mindful when speaking to friends and family, be mindful of your emotions, be mindful of everything.
If you can, without bugging yourself out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a practice. So meditation, everything, mindfulness, even learning how to communicate with people, how you manage yourself, everything that we do that we want to do better is something that everything, like anything you want to get better at, it's a practice. And the more you do it, bit by bit, step by step, day by day, from when it's in your intention and you do it bit by bit every day at your pace. Yeah. You ain't got to do it as quick as, I ain't got to do it as quick as she, and she, not me. Versa. So your own pace, and you will get there, you will get better at it, 100%.
And hack 6, exercise. I love exercising.
Gym free.
Yeah, gym free. Get up at silly times in the morning just to do a little exercise. But I would definitely advise it. Even if it's just a walk, even if it's a jog, try something new. Even if you wasn't necessarily someone who was into the gym before, just give it a go and see how you feel.
Your juices flowing.
Yeah, and I always say to people, you never regret any form of workout. Beforehand, it's like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, this is long. Da, da, da. But once you do it, you feel great. And
100%.
Anybody who regularly exercise will come to the same conclusion. So we definitely say exercise for hack 6.
And can I say, just add on to that, stretching.
Yeah.
Stretching. Like me, every morning, I do a whole body stretch. It just gives me life.
Yeah.
It just gives me life. Like a lot of people walking around with tension, and it's not a vibe.
Yeah.
It's not a vibe. Tension in your body, just... That will bring your mood down as well in your in the background. You don't realize it, but because you're like this, you just extra uptight, and it can affect your mood too. So
100%. So that's episode 1 wrapped up. We are thinking of you all. We're sending you all lots of love during this time. Any questions you have, anything you're not sure about, if you want any tips, feel free to send us a message on our Instagram, which is at Love Yourself to Success,
or leave comments in the box
under the visuals.
We really want you to engage with us. Any questions that you have, any tips you have, because that's the thing, we are on this journey too, and when you're looking for self-development and you get into it, you are always looking for ways to improve, and it's not coming from a place of I'm not good enough, so I need to do more and more to make myself good. It's coming from I see myself as this potential, this infinity, this person, this growth. I am growth. Do you know what I mean? So if I can learn new things that help me to do that, and that's great. And it's it's not everything's gonna be for everyone either.
Yeah, 100%.
I can just say that. Do you know what I mean? She's mad into the gym. I'm more into my little yoga. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So we do things, and we can pick up things as we go along that really resonate with us, that we feel are going to grow us. And, it's a process.
It is. But take care, guys. We will be back next week with another episode and some more hacks for you all. But in the meantime, like we said, sending lots of love and peace. And we'll speak to you soon. Mwah. Bye.